The playground rhyme that said, "Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me." In analyzing that, to me, to my understanding, that is absolutely false. Especially when those words come from somebody that you love and expect it to be loved, accepted, and protected. I think one of the worst things that a child could experience is have a parent who curses them by telling them hateful words. Let me know if you can identify with this. Today I was remembering some of the words that both my parents at different times in my life actually told me directly. When you grow up in toxic and dysfunctional family systems, a lot of the times the things that happen within the family environment is very toxic, and many times as children, and I speak for myself, we often don't even realize how toxic it really is until later in life, like it happened for myself. You know, our parents are supposed to love and protect us, guide us with love, and not try to forge us into a life that they wanted us to live, where the toxic beliefs would be perpetuated. I know I'm not the only one that has experienced this, and today's message is just a reminder for you that we do deserve the best, and we are worthy. We are worthy of having a great life. I realized today that I don't even think that my parents realized the amount of damage that their words actually caused. That at the time, because I was going through so much drama, I couldn't even process them. I speak for myself. I don't carry the anger. I don't carry resentful. And I've seen individuals, I've seen parents that carry anger and resentment, especially when their children don't do what the toxic parent wanted them to do. And I realized today that what we actually carry is a very deep sadness. Those words that stayed in our subconscious, it's time to pull them out and uproot them, to dissolve the intention, dissolve the hurtful words that came, in my case, that came from my parents. And at the time, I didn't grieve or cry or even showed anger towards them. It was just like I just walked away. At the time, I cared about my parents' opinion. I am no longer in that stage of my life where I cared for other people's opinion. I could give a damn about what other people think about me or what they wanted me to do and I didn't do. I have made myself and my children a priority. My two youngest children have been with me their entire lives. I realized today that I had to acknowledge so that I can uproot that intention that came from my parents, and it was buried in my soul. I know that one of the worst things that a parent can do to their son or daughter is curse them with their hateful, unkind, unloving words. For example, "You should have never had children." I heard that after I had already had my 3 sons. My oldest is 10 years older than my middle son. I have 1 son from the first marriage, and I have 2 younger children from the second marriage. And both of those marriages were to angry, abusive men with toxic and narcissistic behavior. And no, they are not diagnosed. Remember, the majority of abusers with narcissistic behavior do not believe that they have a problem. So of course, they're not going to go seek for any medical diagnosis or mental or psychological diagnosis. The individuals that do go to therapy are us. And I have, throughout my lifetime, have had a lot of therapy. For many years, I started therapy in the first marriage after I was physically attacked. I had started therapy when I lived in Missouri, and actually even my son had started therapy as a child. To me, my children are the greatest blessings. I chose to break the toxic cycle of conditional love, conditional acceptance. I love my children unconditionally. I accept them for who they are, and my greatest desire is that they live the greatest life possible. And I'm helping my 2 youngest children. The oldest child, I'll be sharing more of that story, but he is under the absolute control of his father, who is his guardian through the court system. And as we all know, the amount of corruption that goes on in the court systems, these abusers always manage to allow their narrative, their created delusional narrative of the story that will make them appear as the victim or as the hero, but never the villain, which that's what they are. But they will not portray themselves as that. They are always the victim and the hero. Things like when I left Missouri the first time in the late 1990s, I heard from, I was told directly, she didn't send anybody to tell me, but my own mother at the time told me, she says, I don't know why you came back. It's almost like you're not even here. Because I was literally very traumatized. I'm sure I already had PTSD, which was later diagnosed by medical professionals. But, there was a lot of things regarding that relationship where I was always hypervigilant. I think that normal parents would tell you, or loving parents would tell you, or even your family, what can I do to help? Instead of, I don't know why you came back, which really sucks, right? Now that I think about it. But healing from toxic relationships that basically stem from our early childhood, honestly, there's no time frame for the completion, because the more healing I do, the more deep dives, it's like, damn, another thing. But anyway, I'm excited to continue on this journey, and I just want to make sure that I share that with you, because don't be afraid to deep dive into your childhood, to uproot all of the words that were stuck in our subconscious. And at the time, most of us, when you are on survival mode, you can't process them. And we really have to go through, just got goosebumps, we really have to go through a grieving process. And that's part of healing. If you have to cry, go ahead and do that. The one thing I know, that as someone that is very compassionate and full of empathy, we never want to hurt anybody else. And that's the difference with a narcissistic or an abuser, that they will hurt others because of the crap that they could not deal with, and so they want to punish the whole world for. So I just wanted to share that with you, just as a reminder that it's very important to get all those feelings and emotions that you could not process at the time. Sometimes it wasn't even safe to cry or grieve, because you would be told, oh, you're such a crybaby, or things that were not very loving, and they were definitely not understanding. And a lot of the children are not allowed to express any kind of emotion, otherwise you're going to get into more problems. So I just want to remind you to don't be afraid to remember when you're ready, and get those words that did affect you, because these words have the potential to affect your abundance, the prosperity, the way money comes to you. So we do deserve the greatness, we deserve abundance, prosperity, and we do deserve to be loved. Even if your parents told you at one time that you were unworthy or that you did not deserve. And I do deserve all the greatness. I deserve all the love, and I'm claiming it, and I'm living it. So take care of you. Remember to love you, to practice self-care, whether it's reading a book or listening to meditation music, or going for a walk, enjoying nature. Do things that make you feel good, to remind you the greatness that lies within you.